Hey everyone, Corey with Core Guard Creations here, and today I want to talk to everyone about what I do to put on my ODST costume. So my ODS costume, when I built it, it took me about 10 months to build it, and every single little facet of this build, I looked at each individual piece and thought, what can I do to get it to do this or do that? Even when it came down to wearing it. So the biggest thing I can kind of give everybody right off the jump is you kind of got to pre-plan what you want to do as far as how you plan to wear it, how you plan to strap it, if that's the way you want to go. Just everything you do is going to have to be kind of pre-thought out in reference to building this costume and how you want to wear it and what you want it to look like and what you want it to do. So the big thing there is just think about each piece and how it's supposed to be worn, and then how you want to actually attach it or wear it as the piece. So the first thing I start off with is my undersuit. My undersuit is nothing more than a running t-shirt. It's not a t-shirt like a cotton type t-shirt. It's actually a very light, seamless, running type shirt. I have nothing on underneath it. If the wind hits me, it goes right through the shirt, but it provides that good black base background that I'm looking for to wear underneath the armor. Same thing with the pants. The pants are more like a kind of hiking, stretchy synthetic material. They're all black, and I know you can't see them because of the way the camera angle is, but on my thighs, I actually sewed 1.5 inch Velcro to my pants, and that's what's actually going to suspend my thigh pieces. The belt, a simple 1.5 inch piece of nylon webbing, and I just sewed the loop side of Velcro along the length of one side of it with the hooks on about 7-8 inches on the other side. What this does, it allows me to actually use the belt as a functional item, but it also gives me basically mounting points on for my ODST as far as the back spine piece, the hip plates, and actually the belt buckle that is unique to the ODST costume. So what that gives me the ability to do now is I can literally have all this waist area that I can actually use as functional without having to use strapping. So my thigh pieces match up to the thighs, right? So on my thigh, I have the loops, and on the inside of the thigh pieces, I have the hooks. What I'll do is when I put this on, I'll just slide it right up my leg. I'll get it to where I want it to go, and I'll just press it on. My pants now become load-bearing as far as holding the piece on. One thing I did fail to mention was with my shirt, I sewed these little elastic loops. This is just 3/4 inch or 1 inch elastic. I just put a quick little tack on the inside of the shirt. And what this does is prevents it from, when I'm putting my gauntlets on, from allowing the shirt to ride up. It just holds the shirt down. Once I put my gloves on and everything's on, you won't see none of that. Did the same thing for the legs, right there at the bottom, almost like a ballerina or a gymnast or anyone who wears some type of leggings where they got that little strap that goes underneath their heel. It keeps it from riding up. The other thing I did with my shoes was, in fact, my shoes alone are slip-on Skechers. They have the memory foam, super soft, super durable, super light. And I just basically made shoe covers. And that's all that is. A shoe cover with a slip-on Skechers shoe, memory foam. I've spent the better part of 8 or 9 hours on my feet in my costume. My feet hurt, but at the end of the day, I think these things saved my life. The next thing I did when building my ODST is I really liked the back spine piece right here, but I didn't like the way the ODST one looked. I wanted more functionality. I wanted a little bit more detail in it. And I also needed some type of mounting point for my butt plate. So what I ended up doing was I created this. This is actually foam inside here. This is 1/4 inch foam. I created the shape. Then before I glued any of this, before I sewed anything, I found a hexagonal stencil and I spray painted, or I airbrushed the pattern onto it to kind of give it just a little bit more textured look. From here, this is all self-designed. Everything I did here was self-designed. The rivets are actually nothing more than googly eyes that you can buy 1,000 pack. And I just kind of created design myself how I liked it. From there, I brought my straps around. I made a couple of Velcro straps. This is where the butt plate will attach. And then I went ahead and created these side pieces right here. Now, with these side pieces, this is actually foam covered aluminum sheets. You can buy real thin gauge aluminum from places, any type of hardware store like Home Depot, Lowe's, or whatever you may have in your area. And I just cut them to shape. I covered them with some 2mm foam, and then I wrapped them with, what is this stuff called? Canvas. Then I just glued them. I used E6000 glue to hold everything on the inside, and I did stitch this to it before I did all the gluing. So this creates actually mounting points, which is what the hip plate's mounted to. So the hip plate, it can be removed or adjusted, and again, I just made Velcro straps to give it the look that it's mounted on there. I also have grenades I made out of 2-inch PVC. We'll see those in a little bit. Those actually mount to this and are held on by the hip plate. Your standard D-rings, and then again, everything like we talked earlier with the belt is Velcro. So everything on the inside of this is the loop side or the hook side to the belt. So when I put this on, it's going to be secured to my waistline, and then again create that mounting platform for everything else to follow suit on. So we had the back piece put on, and this is what it looks like without the chest piece. The chest piece will actually ride over this, so I didn't want it to be fixed to my shirt, and I didn't want it fixed to the chest. That way, as I moved my upper torso, this piece would stay in place, and the chest would actually rotate with my torso. Now, the chest piece was designed fairly uniquely. What I did was, again, all the straps were sewn by me. Everything I decided what I liked, and this is what I went with. The buckles were made out of 98-cent cutting boards from Walmart. I bought a couple of those for $1 a piece. I drew out my design, and then I actually just glued these two together, figured out my straps, and then made 4 of them. So a lot of people have asked me about the Biofoam water bottle. This is actually a 17.9 ounce bottle. It's the double insulated, vacuum insulated water bottle. If I would take this off, this actually has unscrews, and it is a functional water bottle. I thought it was just cool because it looked like the Biofoam container. And when you go to a con and you're paying $10 for a bottle of water, you can actually wear some right on the back of your chest piece. So on the inside, what I did for these on the side pieces, again, like I did on my hip plates, this is foam, but the backing of it is actually aluminum plating to give it some support. So I didn't want my piece to actually bend and get disfigured. On the inside, I took the same thing. I don't know if you can see this, but on the inside, I took aluminum. I actually created me a little door, and this actually gives me access inside the center plate, which is where I can put my portable battery bank for running my helmet fans. I can put my voice changer. I can put my voice amplifier. Basically, the center plate for the ODST costume is like the glove box of a car. When you're designing how you want to wear it and fit it, a simple little door in the back of it like this. Now, the problem is once you got it on, you can't access it. So be mindful what you put in there, because if you put your cell phone and it rings, not like you can just reach in there and grab your cell phone. So now that I got the chest piece on, now we're going to go ahead and go with the shoulders. What I did with the shoulders was, again, I didn't want any strapping showing. From previous experience building the armor sets for my son, using the DFT templates, I used straps to hold their shoulders, but they had limited range of motion. It ended up tearing away from the chest piece. I didn't like that setup. So what I did was I looked at the first responder or law enforcement tactical functions, and this is actually torn. I'm gonna have to redo this. So what I ended up doing was I designed this little cuff, and then I sewed Velcro. There's Velcro on my sleeve, there's Velcro on the inside of this, and then there's Velcro on the outside. And again, it's just a simple little cuff, and on the inside of it, there's a piece of 1/4-inch foam. Gives it a little bit of size, gives it a little bit of just makes it look a little bit bigger. This is actually going to be a little bit of a problem. I didn't realize my strap So what happened here was the stitching actually went right through it, and it actually perforated the nylon strap. That's what happened. So we'll have to try and fix that. So, but this is what it looks like when you're wearing it on the left side of my arm. The shoulder piece will literally just attach directly to that with Velcro. It will not come off. I've been through cons. I've bumped into people. People have bumped into me. The shoulder does not move. In fact, my wife on occasions has, people are amazed that this is all foam, and she'll just rip my shoulder right off, hand it to somebody, and show them that it's just foam. It's the one piece she can take off of me. I can't control it. Once I have it on, I can't move. This is, my range of motion is about right here with the chest piece. So with that, we're going to take a break and figure out how I plan to address this to put the rest of it on, and then we'll be back in a minute. Okay, folks, so what we did, we went ahead and fixed up the shoulder piece, and field expedient fix, duct tape, always a good thing to have. So the shoulders were a bit of a challenge for me because when I originally built them and put them on with the cuff system, they rode so close to the chest piece that there was no range of motion. This actually defeated the purpose of why I didn't want the straps. I wanted range of motion. I wanted my arms to be free to move without any straps binding down either from the chest or from the shoulder piece. So when I put them on, what I found was the shoulder actually rode too close to the chest piece, limiting my range of motion. What I ended up needing to do was I created a spacer. I had to create a little kind of triangular spacer, and then I just applied that with the Velcro, and then it just sticks right to your shoulder. The UNSC Med Badge, found this on the 405th forums. Just searched the forums. They have somebody did a great job of making them. I'm actually O positive, so I'll put it as my actual real blood type. And then I was able to just kind of add a little bit of color to it, black and blue and whatnot. So next up will be the gauntlets, and we'll talk about those here in a minute. The gauntlets, these things were the bane of my build. Nothing in this gauntlet is actually built off of any pattern from the 405th or any online resources, nothing. What I ended up needing to do with this was I must have tried 3 or 4 different times to get the gauntlet, and it just, for whatever reason, I could not get it right. I couldn't get the sizing right. I couldn't get the shape right. Just everything I tried, I could not get it right. So what I ended up doing with this was the tried true tradition. I wrapped my arm with saran wrap, covered it with duct tape, and then I kind of drew my own template out, cut it off, and then I built my gauntlets based off of my own template. And then with this is more like the modified version of the DFT. Right here, I kind of, again, made my own template, but I used kind of DFT's idea and concept, but then just took it a little step further by building a base and then creating the little vents. These are all individual pieces of foam. And there's a couple things I noticed that I missed, like this has got the little grill, this one doesn't. Didn't notice that, did you? So, but yeah, these are just friction worn. They just slide on, they don't move, they don't go anywhere. And I also covered it with leak seal from Rust-Oleum, so they're rubber. They're going to bend, they're going to give, they're going to show a little bit of wear just from the couple years I've had this, but for the most part, it's held up like a champ. So the last couple things are just I guess the devil are in the details. The gloves, these are just a pair of cheap gloves. I think I paid like $8 or $9. I got them from Wish, the little wish.com app. They're impact type gloves. I found a design I liked. What I did with these is I just took some of the same blue paint I used for the build, watered it down, let it flow into the little interior parts, just to kind of tie it to the rest of the color spectrum of the costume. The grenades, I really couldn't find much on these. When it came to making them, I knew I wanted them. Every picture I'd seen showed online, reference pictures showed that, you know, the ODSTs had them, but I couldn't find really anybody who had a template or anything. So what I ended up doing was just taking 2-inch PVC pipe, measuring it out to what I wanted, a little bit of 2mm foam, cut it, added a little bit of paint, a little bit of blue. I got yellow on one side, blue on one side. The metal, the spoon, I guess, is the same aluminum material that was used in the chest piece and the waist side right here, and on my hip plates. It's the same thing. I cut them into strips, scored them, bent them over with a little hand seamer, tapped them down with a little rubber mallet, and then formed them the way I wanted them. So completely non-functional, hollow. It's strictly for aesthetics. There's no real incendiary devices. I mean, sucks, but it is what it is. All right, last but not least, the creme de la creme. The one thing about the ODSTs that everybody notices and everybody loves, the bucket. So this was actually a Pepakura helmet. I got the files off of the 405th. I pepped it out. I did not use fiberglass. What I ended up doing was I ended up slush casting a plastic type resin into it. We built up the layers to it was about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch thick in some spots, and then sanded it all down. For the outer part, to clean it up and give it that more rounded hard edge, I didn't use Bondo. What I used was Evercoat Easy Sand. I found it came out a lot smoother. It came out, it sanded real easy. I didn't have any pinholes. What little ones I might have come across, it was real simple for me to just use spot putty to fill it in. The visor. I've gotten a lot of people who see my ODST and they ask me, how did I do the visor? The visor is nothing more than .30 PETG plastic sheeting. On one side, I coat it with mirrored window film or window tint. And on the outside, I use translucent vinyl, basically see-through vinyl. And you can get it, again, if you can go online, Amazon has it, Wish, AliExpress. You can get it in a multitude of colors, you know, green, blue, purple, gold, red, even smoke if you want to do a more black visor. So what happens is you cover one side with the mirror tint, the other side, your outside, gets covered with the translucent colored vinyl, and you got to let it cure. You got to let that water evaporate because it's sticky on both sides. Once it cures, again, using the PEP file from the 405th's Armory, I simply pepped out the plastic, making sure to leave my tabs all along these lines, and then using, again, a hand seamer with a light score on the plastic, I was able to bend it back and create my tabs, and then I just doubled up my contact cement and put that in there. As far as the inside of the helmet, it's literally duct taped in. I can take the visor out if I want. I'd love to say it was something fancy. It's not. It's literally just duct tape holding the visor in. You know, looks cool on the outside, complete, you know, shooting from the hip on the inside. Some things about the inside of the helmet, I did create a suspension system out of 1/2-inch foam. Again, I used Velcro, so it's completely adjustable. If, you know, in this case, I got a little bit more hair, and I need to expand that headpiece, I can. It's completely removable. I can take everything out of this helmet. Nothing is permanently attached. Everything is Velcroed, just so I can be able to, if I want to use it for another helmet or for any other reason. I did actually, right here, I carved these out of the plastic with a Dremel, and I put little computer mesh vents in there and painted them silver. This just gives me a little bit better way to hear. Hopefully, it doesn't work well when the fans are on anyway. And then the same thing for the vents right here. I carved those out with my Dremel using a little micro bit and then cleaned them all up. Oh man, and my helmet broke. Yeah. So again, wear and tear. You can see right here, I got a nice size crack. So this helmet's probably on its last leg. I'll probably end up having to redo it, but it's given me 2 faithful years of service. So without further ado, this is what it looks like when it's fully together.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
And I don't know if you can hear me because It's already fogging up. I do not have my batteries on. I do not have my fans hooked up. So right now, everything is getting foggy, but I can still see. But I don't know if you can actually hear me through it. If I had my voice amplifier on, I'd have my mic inside my helmet, and you'd be hearing me through my chest piece. So without that, this is my ODST, and that's how I built it, and that's how I put it on. Thank you for tuning in.